Daniel and Olivia's love story felt like it was plucked from a fairy tale. For 5 years, they were the couple everyone envied. Daniel, a software engineer with a heart of gold, adored Olivia, a vibrant art gallery curator. He wasn't just in love, he was completely devoted. He remembered every little detail, her favorite flower, the way she liked her coffee, the song that always made her smile. He believed their future was a beautifully painted canvas, with a house, a dog, and a family sketched into the background. His love was pure, honest, and absolute. He trusted her with his entire world. One evening, Daniel was working late, trying to finish a project ahead of a surprise anniversary trip he'd planned for them. He needed a file from his old laptop, the one Olivia now used. As he opened it, a messaging app she'd left logged in popped up. A single message from a contact named Alex caught his eye. It read, "Can't wait for tonight. He'll be at work, right?" Daniel's heart stopped. His blood ran cold. With trembling hands, he scrolled up. The screen illuminated a history of secret dates, whispered promises, and intimate photos. The betrayal was a physical blow, knocking the air from his lungs. Olivia, his Olivia, was living a double life. The man, Alex, was a wealthy client from her gallery. The messages detailed their affair, mocking Daniel's naivety and his predictable schedule. The pain was immediate and overwhelming, a white-hot agony that consumed him. The man who had built his world around one woman watched it crumble into digital dust right before his eyes. That night, sleep was a stranger. The initial shock gave way to a storm of emotions: heartbreak, confusion, and a burgeoning, unfamiliar rage. He replayed their recent conversations, seeing them through a new, tainted lens. Her late nights at the gallery, her work dinners, it was all a lie. The woman he planned to propose to on their upcoming trip was a stranger. He looked at the engagement ring he'd so carefully chosen, its sparkle now seeming to mock him. He could confront her, scream, demand answers. But what good would that do? She would likely cry, apologize, and promise it would never happen again. But the trust, the very foundation of their love, was shattered beyond repair. He realized that a simple breakup wasn't enough. The depth of her deception demanded more than just a quiet exit. An idea began to form in the darkness of his apartment, a cold, hard resolve solidifying in his chest. He wouldn't just leave. He would orchestrate an ending she would never forget. Daniel channeled his grief into a meticulous plan. He was a software engineer, after all. Logic, planning, and execution were his strengths. He continued to play the role of the loving boyfriend, a performance that tore him apart inside. She'd asked Daniel to create a slideshow, trip down memory lane to celebrate her life. The irony was almost too much to bear. "Of course, sweetheart," he'd said, his voice steady despite the tremor in his soul. "I'll make it perfect." And he would. He spent weeks crafting his masterpiece. The presentation would start innocently enough. Photos of Olivia as a child, pictures from her college days, and then photos of them as a couple. Happy memories, trips, and holidays, a perfect facade of their 5-year love story. But the second half of the presentation was something else entirely. It was a carefully curated timeline of her betrayal. The night of the party arrived. The venue was a chic downtown lounge, buzzing with laughter and conversation. Olivia was radiant, floating through the room, accepting compliments and gifts. She gave Daniel a kiss, whispering, "I'm so glad you did the slideshow. It means the world to me." He just smiled, a tight, empty gesture. He saw Alex across the room, laughing with some of Olivia's colleagues, completely at ease. As he walked to the podium to introduce the presentation, His heart hammered against his ribs, but his purpose was firm. "Good evening, everyone," Daniel began, his voice amplified by the microphone. "Thank you all for coming to celebrate the amazing Olivia. She wanted to look back at her life, and I was honored to put this together for her." The room quieted, and all eyes turned to the large screen behind him. The screen went black for a second, and a new title appeared. "The Last 6 Months." A confused murmur rippled through the crowd. The first image was a screenshot of a text message. "He'll be at work, right?" The date and time were clearly visible. The next slide was a photo of Olivia and Alex, clinking champagne glasses at a restaurant Daniel had never been to. Then another and another. Screenshots of their illicit chats, hotel receipts with Alex's name, a picture of them kissing, secretly taken. With each slide, the room grew quieter, the silence becoming heavy and suffocating. Gasps were audible. People started looking from the screen to Olivia, to Alex, then back to the screen. Olivia's face went from confusion to disbelief, then to sheer horror. Her smile vanished, replaced by a pale, frozen mask. She tried to grab Daniel's arm to stop it, but he calmly moved away. He looked at her, his eyes cold and empty of the love that once filled them. Alex, meanwhile, looked like he'd seen a ghost. His face was beet red, and he was frantically trying to shrink into the background, but it was too late. All eyes were on him, then on Olivia. The final slide was a simple, stark photo of the engagement ring Daniel had bought set against a black background. Below it, a single line of text. "I guess the answer is no." Daniel put the microphone back on the stand. He didn't shout, he didn't cry, he simply turned to the stunned crowd. "I believe I've overstayed my welcome. Olivia, Alex, you two have a lot to talk about. The bar is open, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the party. It's all been paid for." With that, he walked toward the exit, not looking back. He could feel the weight of 100 stares, could hear the first whispers erupting into a cacophony of scandal. He walked out of the lounge and into the cool night air, taking his first breath of freedom. Pain was still there, a dull ache where his heart used to be. But for the first time in months, it was mixed with something else, a sense of closure. He had lost the love of his life, but he had reclaimed his dignity. He didn't know what the future held, but as he walked away, leaving the ruins of his past behind, he knew one thing for sure. He was finally moving forward.